This is a Headgum original.
Guys, you know what my problem with edibles is? I mean, sometimes you just get way too high, right? It can be difficult to control, to dose it right, and there's nothing worse than being baked out of your mind when you didn't plan on it. And you know, once you eat it, there's no going back. You just sit there suffering, stoned out of your mind, and that's why when I need the perfect medium high, I hit up my friends at Diet Smoke for their delicious Delta 8 THC gummies. Diet Smoke isn't light, it's just right. So what exactly is Delta 8? Well, Delta 8 is simply a less potent THC. The THC that you're probably familiar with is Delta 9, and while both are natural to the cannabis plant, Diet Smoke extracts their Delta 8 from hemp. Some may call this a loophole. I call it the secret recipe to getting a smooth, stable, and most importantly, legal high. Diet Smoke is legal in most states, and it's non-prescription. Just check Diet Smoke's website to see if they ship their delicious gummies to your state. Now, you're probably asking yourself, does Diet Smoke really get you high? Of course! The high you get with Diet Smoke is best described as somewhere between the chillness of CBD and that classic stoned feeling you get with regular weed. Plus, Diet Smoke comes in two delicious flavors, blue raspberry and watermelon. I like blue raspberry. I've always been a blue raspberry head, but Marika can't get enough of the watermelon. I say try them both. So when CBD isn't enough and traditional THC is too much, enjoy the smooth buzz of Diet Smoke. Each gummy is infused with 10 milligrams of Delta 8 THC derived from American-grown hemp. And you know what they say, buy American, get high with American. Delta 8 gummies are low in sugar, fat-free, and delicious. And did I mention they're legal? Go to dietsmoke.com and use promo code What's That for 10% off your order. And as a special offer, Diet Smoke's coupon code can be used on every order, all right? Not just your first. That's dietsmoke.com, promo code What's That for 20% off, actually. 20% off your first order. And every order after that. Diet Smoke's Delta 8 THC gummies are not for use or sale to people under the age of 21. Please use responsibly. Thanks, Diet Smoke.
Heart's Kindred by Zona Gale, Chapter 1. A hut of bark thatched with palm leaves. A gigantic rock at whose base lay old ashes. An open grassy space bordering a narrow mountain stream, and a little garden. These made the home of the Inger, where a man might live and die as a man was meant, neither planning like a maniac nor yet idling like an idiot, but well content with what the day brought forth. Toward a June sunset, the Inger sat outside his doorway, fashioning a bowl from half a turtle shell. Before him, the ground sloped to the edge of the garden, and beyond dropped to the clearing's edge. When he lifted his eyes, he could look for miles along thick tops of live oaks and larches, and beyond, to a white line of western sea. At his back rose the foothills, cleft by canyons, yet quite freshly green. Above them, the monstrous mountains swept the sky, and here their flanks were shaggy, with great pines. The whole lay now in that glory of clear yellow by which the west gives to the evening some hint of a desert ancestry. The Inger worked in silence. He was not a man to sing or whistle. Those who live alone are seldom whistling men. Perhaps the silence becomes something definite, and not lightly to be shattered. A man camping alone will work away quietly day long, and his dog understands. The Inger had no dog anymore. He had owned a wolfhound whom, in a fit of passion, he had kicked so that the dog had died, and such was his remorse that he would own no other, and the sight of another man's dog pulled at him as at an old wound. It was so still that presently in that clear air, the sound of a bell in the valley came up to him with distinctness. He looked to the south, and in a deep place in the trees already lights twinkled out as if they, like the bells, would announce something. The Inger remembered and understood. "Hell," he said aloud. "The wedding." He went on, scraping at his turtle shell, his mind on the man who would be married that night, early so that there would be ample time for much merrymaking and drunkenness before the eastbound train at midnight. Bunchy Haight was the man, the owner of the rundown inn in the village of Inch. The woman was the Moore girl, whose father, abetted by the Inger himself, had killed a sheriff or two for interfering with his gambling place and had gone free because no one was sure whether it was he or the Inger who did the shooting. Moore's promissory notes had been accumulating in the hands of Bunchy Haight for a dozen years, and it was no secret that the wedding settled the long score. And in dead good luck to get a provider like Bunchy, the Moore girl is, was the way the Inch took it. Inch welcomed a wedding. In the old days it had been different, and nobody cared whether anybody had a wedding or not. For then there had been a racetrack at Inch, and a summer hotel, and a fine glass front showing of saloons, and other magnificence. With the passing of the California law, the track had been closed. The resort keepers had moved away, and the bottom had fallen from Inch. Mothers amused their children by telling of the traps, and the four-in hands, and the tally-hoes with rollicking horns, and the gaily dressed strangers who used to throng the town for a fortnight in spring and in autumn, when Inch knew no night and no darkness and no silence, and abundantly prospered. Now all this was changed. There were literally no excitements save shootings and weddings. Jem Moore, being supposed to have achieved his share of the former, was prepared further to adorn his position by setting up drinks for the whole village and all strangers to celebrate his daughter's nuptial day. These things the Inger turned over in his mind as he scraped away at his shell. And when the dark had nearly fallen, he rose, shook out from the shell the last fragments, polished it with his elbow, balanced it between his hands to regard it, and came to his conclusion. "Hell," he said again, "I'm bust if I don't go to it." The next instant he laid down the shell, slipped to his door, and caught up the gun that lay inside on a shelf of the rude scantling. A wood duck had appeared over the lower treetops, flying languidly to its nest somewhere in the foothills. Long before it reached the wood's edge, the Inger was in his doorway. The bird's heavy flight led straight across the clearing. One moment the big body came sailing above the hut, then it seemed to go out in a dozen ugly angles and dropped like a stone to the edge of the garden. It lay fluttering strongly when the Inger reached it. He lifted and examined it approvingly. One wing was shot almost clear of the body. That was the mark he liked to make. He swung the bird under his arm, took out his jackknife, pried open the mouth, slit the long tongue, tied the feet together, and hung it outside his door to bleed to death. This death, he had heard, improved the flavor. Without washing his hands, he prepared his supper. Salt pork and bacon fried together, corn cakes soaked in the gravy, and coffee. The fire glowed in the hollow of the great rock, and the smell of the cooking crept about. The Inger was almost ready to eat by the clear light of the transparent sky when he saw a figure coming across the clearing. He leapt for his rifle. Since the last sheriff had been shot, he was never perfectly at ease with any stranger, but before his hand had closed, it relaxed at the sound of a triple whistle. He wheeled and looked again. The stranger had almost reached the burn of the firelight. "Blast my bones and blast me!" cried the Inger. "Dad!" Something deep and big had come in his voice. As the two men met and shook hands, there was a gladness in them both. They moved apart in a minute. The Inger took the pack, which the older man swung off, and went about cutting more salt pork and bacon. His father found the wash basin and washed, breathing noisily through the water cupped in his hands. Not much was said, but anyone would have known that the two were glad of the moment. "Not much grub," said his father. "I ain't grub hungry," and flung himself on the ground before the campfire. "I'm dead beat. My bones ache," he added. The Inger filled his father's plate and went on frying the meat. In the firelight, their faces looked alike. The older man's skin was beginning to draw tightly, showing the rugged modeling of the thick bones. His huge hands looked loose and ineffectual. Something welled up and flooded the Inger when he saw his father's hand tremble as he lifted his tin cup. Larger in scale, more definite in drawing, and triumphantly younger the Inger was, brown-skinned and leveled-eyed and deep-chested, his naked, veined right arm grasping the handle of the skillet as if it were a battering ram. When the Inger registered in the inn at Inch or signed a check in his bank in the city, his pen bit through the paper like acid, because he did everything as if his tool were a battering ram. But his eyes, as they rested now on his father's hand that trembled, were soft and mute, like a dog's eyes. "What kind of luck, Dad?" he said. The older man looked across his wooden platter and smiled whimsically. "Same kind," he answered. "None, but look-a-here, sonny," he added. "I found out something." "I bet you did," said the Inger. "I ain't ever going to have any luck," said the old man. "I'm done for. I'm done. A year or two more and I'll be spaded in. It's the darndest funniest feeling, he said musingly, to get onto it that you're all in, a back number. I gotta quit planning it. Not on your life, the Anger began, but his father roared at him. Shut up, he said fondly. You dangin' runt, you. You must have knowed it for 2 years back. Knowed nothing, said the Anger stoutly. The older man put his plate on the ground and lay down beside it, his head on his hand. It's a devil of a feel, he said. Don't feel it, said the Anger. Cut it, said his father almost sternly. I brought you up to kill a man if you have to, but not lie to him, ain't I? Well, don't you lie to me now. The Anger was silent, and his father went on. I was always so dead sure, he said, that I was cut out to be rich. When I was a kid in the tannery, I was dead sure. When I hit the trail for the mines, I thought the time was right ahead. That was 50 years ago. Quit, Dad, said the Anger uncomfortably. I've got it. What's the difference? The flagpole is good for all either of us will ever want. I ain't forgot, though, said the older man quickly. Now you banked on the flagpole again my advice. If you'd done it as I said, you'd be grubbing yet, same as me. It's all luck, said the Anger. What can anybody tell? We're getting the stuff, and there's a long sight more than we need. Ain't that enough? What you want to wear yourself out for? His father leaned against the end of the warm rock and lighted his pipe. Did I say I wanted to? He asked. I done it so long I can't help myself. I'll be scheming out deals and being let in on the ground floor and finding a sure thing till I croak and getting took in regular. He regarded his son curiously. What you gonna do with your pile? He inquired. The Anger sat, clasping his knees, looking up at the height of Whiteface, thick black in the thin darkness. His face was relaxed, and there was a boyishness and a sweetness in his grave mouth. Nothing, he said, till I get the pull to leave here. To leave Inch? Said his father incredulously. To leave here, the Anger repeated, throwing out his arm to the wood. This is good enough for me, for a while yet. I thought maybe the society down there, said his father with a jerk of his head to the lights in the valley, was giving you some call to sit by. The Anger sprang up. So it is, he said. Tonight. Bunchy's getting spliced. Who's the antagonist? Said the other. The Moore girl, said the Anger. Bunchy's a fine lot to draw her, he added. She's too good a hand for him. Want to go down and see if it pulled off? He asked. His father hesitated, looking down to the valley, to the humble sparkling of Inch. I don't reckon I really want to get drunk tonight, he said slowly. I'll save up till I do. The Anger stretched prodigiously, bunching his great shoulders, lifting his tense arms, baring their magnificent muscles. I gotta, I guess, he said, but gosh, how I hate it. He carried the remnants of the food into the hut and made a simple preparation for festivity. As he emerged, he was arrested by a faint stirring and fluttering. He listened, and it was near at hand. And then he saw the wood duck writhing at the end of the string that bound its legs. Beneath it lay a little dark pool. No sense in bleeding all the good out of you, thought the Anger. And with the butt of the six-shooter that he was pocketing, he struck the bird a friendly blow on the head and stilled it. The forest lay in premature night, save where a little mountain brook caught and treasured the dying daylight. It was immensely still. The Anger's tread and brushing at the thickets silenced whatever movement of tiny life had been stirring before him. The trail wound for half a mile down the incline in the never-broken growth. Once in the preceding winter, when the flagpole mine was at last known with certainty to be the sensation of the year, the Anger had sewed out a neat sum in the lining of his coat and had gone to inspect San Francisco. He had wanted to see a library, and he saw one, and stood baffled among the books of which he had never heard, stammering before a polite young woman who said, "Make out your card, please, over there, and present it at the further desk." He had wanted to see an art gallery, and he went confused among alien shapes and nameless figures, and had obediently bought a catalog, of which he made nothing. Then he had gone to dinner with the family of one of the stockholders, and had suffered anguish among slipping rugs and ambiguous silver. The next night, the new collar and cravat discarded, he had turned up in one of his old haunts on the Barbary coast. On his experience, he made only one comment. They know too damn much. And there's too damn much they don't know, he said. But the woods he understood. All that he had hoped to feel in the library, in the art gallery, and in that home, he felt when the woods had him. Out there, he was his own man. As he went, he shouted out a roaring music hall song. Then when he had ceased, as if he became conscious of some incongruity, he stood still, perhaps with some vague idea of restoring silence. In a moment, he heard something move in the tree above his head. An anxious cheep cheep in the leaves, as if some soft breast were beating in fear, and an inquiring head were poised, listening. Instantly, he lifted his revolver and fired again. He heard nothing. Had anything fallen, he could certainly not have come upon it next day. It was the need to do something. As he cleared the wood, the lights of the town lay sparkling in a cup of the desert. At sight of them, there was something that he wanted to do or to be. The vastness of the sky, the nearness of the stars, the imminence of people, these possessed him. He caught off his cap and broke into a run, tossing back his hair like a mane. "Damn that little town. Damn it, he chanted, like an invocation to the desert and to the night.
Our next sponsor has a product I literally use every day. Guys, I started taking Athletic Greens because I was before popping a bunch of different pills and supplements, all right? And it was really expensive. It was really inconvenient. I was at a certain point doing like 20 pills in the morning, and that's just too much. But now I get it all from AG1, the drink from Athletic Greens. So what is this stuff? Well, with one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging, all the things. I wake up, I have my water, just a glass of water, and then I have my Athletic Greens, and then I wait an hour, and then I have my coffee, and it just gets me started on the day exactly how I want to. It benefits my energy, all right? I have sleep issues, not apnea, but issues, and it helps give me, a boost of energy that feels different than just caffeine. The taste, I would say, is very mild, but if anything, I think it's kind of like a bubblegum flavor. I've said this a lot, but it tastes good, and there's no artificial anything in it. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, and it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, while again, still tasting good. It also supports better sleep quality and recovery, mental clarity, and alertness. And it's the one thing with the best things. Athletic Greens uses the best of the best products based on the latest science with constant product iteration and third-party testing. Athletic Greens was created, by the way, when the founder experienced a ton of gut health issues and ended up on a complicated supplement routine to recover that cost him over $100 a day. So he created Athletic Greens after experiencing how difficult it was to create an optimal nutrition routine on your own. I was in the same spot. I mean, maybe not $100 a day, but way more than I wanted to be spending, and now I get it all from Athletic Greens. So right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into flu and cold season. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/what's-that? Again, that's athleticgreens.com/what's-that to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thanks, Athletic Greens. Guys, have you ever had an acne breakout at the worst possible time? I know I have. I've been blessed with great skin. I don't break out easily, but when I do, it's always before something important, right? A big performance, a wedding, a date, something I care about where I have to look nice. And of course, pimple number 1, pimple number 2. And we've all had our struggles with our skin, but that's why we're excited to partner with Apostrophe, the sponsor of this episode. Apostrophe is a prescription skincare company that offers science-backed oral and topical medications that are clinically proven to help clear acne. At Apostrophe, a board-certified dermatologist will create a personalized treatment plan that is perfectly tailored to your unique skin. Simply fill out Apostrophe's online quiz about your skin goals and medical history, then snap a few selfies and a board-certified dermatologist will create your customized treatment plan. Apostrophe treats all types of acne, from hormonal acne to facial acne and even chest-knee, back-knee, and butt-knee. They treat breakouts from head to toe. Apostrophe makes it easy. I don't know what else to say. They help you reach your skincare goals. For me, I oftentimes have dark circles under my eyes, and Apostrophe's helped me out with that a lot. We have a special deal, by the way, for Headgum Podcast audience members. You can save $15 off your first visit with an Apostrophe provider at apostrophe.com/what's-that when you use our code, what's that? This code is only available to Headgum Podcast listeners. So to get started, Just go to apostrophe.com/what's that and then use code what's that to sign up. And you'll get your very first visit for only $5. Again, that's apostrophe, apostrophe.com/what's that. Coupon code what's that to get your dermatologist crafted treatment plan for $5. And we thank Apostrophe for sponsoring this podcast. Thanks, Apostrophe. My friends, what you've just heard is chapter 1, again, of Zona Gale's Heart's Kindred, which in a time like this for me is, well, everything. Fuck. It's hard, you know. This whole show has been my whole life for almost 2 years now, or for over 2 years now. And I can feel the opportunity slipping. There's certain historical figures that are, generational talents. You're looking at Zona Gale, Frankie Yale, Wiley Vale, Elvin Bale, Edgar Dale, etc. These are people that, they had their shot and they took it. And here I am, pissing my shot away. So, Jake, Amir, Marika, Marty, everyone at Headgum, I hope that you hear this episode and think one or both of the following two things. 1, Zona Gale was a generational talent, an artist, really a storyteller, rivaled only maybe by, well, me. And 2, if you don't want the show to be shit like this every week, then I think you'll have me back in studio. And I think you'll rehire my ass on air next week. I don't know who I am.
That was a Headgum original.